Hey buddy, what are you doing? Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back. This is part 5 of our YZ85 rebuild series. Back in the shed up here. We got the YZ250, just got the new gripper seat on there. Acerbis skid plate down there. Of course, the ODI handlebars, just put those on in the ODI grips. I'm gonna have a video on some of the first upgrades that I did to this bike coming out soon. And then of course we got the YZ450F back here with the black and red Cedar Power Flow plastics. Just got a custom graphics kit from Motocutz. They did an awesome job on this, fully custom. We put all of our own logos on there, and those guys are super responsive and let you customize it however you want. So pretty sick company to work with, and I'm super pumped how these graphics turned out. Also just got a brand new moto seat on this bike. We had another one that was all ripped up since we got this used. So we got the black moto seat with the red stripes on there. What's up, man? You just follow me all day. What's up, buddy? And of course we got the YZ85 back there, but I'm not going to show that to you guys because we did a lot of work on it in this video and I can't spoil anything for you. And just in case you're wondering, I do have 2 cats. There's the other one right there. So without further ado, let's get back to that giveaway that I had you guys enter in the YZ85 part 4 series. That was the ODI grips giveaway. We have a set of these ODI black half waffle grips, and I also threw in these Fly Racing MX control grips, all gray, no waffles, just regular grips. Oh, now both of you guys are in here? What are you doing, man? What's up, buddy? So I ended up using a random generator on Google that I found. I had seen somebody else did this, so I went ahead and searched it, found it, entered my YouTube URL into it, and then typed in ODI grips to randomly, pick a comment and ultimately pick the winner. This isn't rigged. I only did this one time, and the reason why I'm showing this to you guys live is because this guy kept asking me when I was gonna pick the winner, and I think it's kind of funny, and maybe it's meant to be that he was chosen. But I mean, only a few of you guys really commented anyway, and I had 2 people that wrote ODI gripes. I mean, come on guys, you gotta spell it right. So of course, as you guys can see, Crispy Edits, congrats man, you're the winner. You get the ODI grips. All you gotta do is message me on my Instagram. Here it is up on the screen. Send me your info and I'll get them sent out to you ASAP. Thanks for entering, man, appreciate it. So that's about it for this little intro. Let's go ahead and hop right into the video. What are you 2 doing in here? These cats are always following me around, man. Why are you staring at me, man? Hey. So these are some of the OEM parts I ordered. That was a screw for the ignition cover. We got a spring for the front header on the pipe. Very important washer I needed for the rear axle. And of course the spokes and nipple kits. The correct one, OEM. So here guys, I'm starting to build the wheel. Didn't capture any video, unfortunately, just didn't have a good spot to set up the tripod, but I did have some pictures here, and I don't really explain in any sort of detail how to do this, but I am going to link some good videos in the description for you guys. Basically, I took a picture of the wheel before I had taken it apart and memorized the pattern and put it all together in the exact way that it was meant to be. So here guys, I'm putting on the wheel. I'm going to go ahead and true up this wheel. Got to make sure that brake's on first. It's a little bit difficult to get these YZ85 wheels on. It's not like big bikes where you can kind of just slide it on and everything's already together. And of course you got to slide those little chain adjuster, chain pullers into place there. And on big bikes, of course, you already have the axle blocks in place. So what I'm doing now is a little technique to true up the wheel. Obviously I don't have a truing stand, so what I'm doing is taking like a fine point Sharpie and taping that to a point on the swing arm. I'm going to go ahead and turn the wheel until I get a nice mark on there for all of my high spots. So if you're not getting any marks, go ahead and readjust that and put that into place. So how I'm adjusting this is finding those high spots and pulling, I believe, the opposite side, and how I'm pulling that into place is I'm tightening the spokes on the opposite side of the part that's high. So what that's going to do essentially is pull that rim into the center. So I'm just going to keep going around. I'm making super small adjustments here until it corrects that problem, or until, at least we get very close. And just in case you guys are wondering, it was raining outside, so you could probably hear all the rain hitting the shed. So moving on here guys, that was my side to side that I had checked. Now I'm going to check the top to bottom. That can be pulled out of alignment as well. And of course, I didn't explain when you guys are putting the wheel together. I kind of really only went finger tight, or you know, a few threads, and I tried to make it as even as possible. But of course, it's nearly impossible to be perfect. So that's why I'm truing up the wheel. Once you guys get the top to bottom portion done, go ahead and check that opposite side. So I apologize if I'm going through this a little bit fast, but truing the wheels a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to leave another video in the description for you guys where someone else can explain this process a little bit better than I can for you. So all I'm doing here is a little sound test where you're tapping the side of the spoke and listening to see if one's higher than the other, and either tightening the low ones or loosening the high ones, trying to get all of them to ring in the same pitch. Once I did that to the other side, and then I followed a pattern that I learned from somebody else on YouTube to go around and tighten everything up evenly so everything's nice and snug. So I decided to spend the extra money, get a brand new tire tube and rim lock, since the other rim lock was pretty much trashed. I'm going to use a little baby powder technique on this tube and put the tube inside of the tire. So while doing this, I also screwed that rim lock in and put that little band over that protects the tube from the spokes. I also slid the valve stem through and put that down loosely. And now you guys are going to watch me struggle to get this tire started. But once you guys get the tire started, it's pretty easy from there. Now that I got both sides seated onto the rim, I'm going to go ahead and lock down my valve stem and also my rim lock, very important. And I'm going to go ahead and pump up the tire to about 12 or 13 psi. Going back in, and I'm locking down both the valve stem and rim lock pretty tight. So here's something important that I wanted to do before I got this wheel back on the bike, and that was to repack the wheel bearings. I know on the previous bike the hub pretty much exploded. I don't know if it was because it was loose or because there was no grease in the bearing. So I was a little bit worried about this on this new hub or used replacement hub that I am putting on this bike. So I went ahead and took that cover off, and if you saw previously, it was pretty dirty in there. Went ahead and cleaned it out with a little bit of contact cleaner and a Q-tip, and I did not take the bearings out. What I'm doing is using another clean Q-tip and just packing in some grease. So take your time, make sure you get it down in there. I'm spinning the wheel around. You don't want too much grease, but you do want to make sure you get a good amount of grease down in there to last you a while. So there it is, freshly packed with some grease. I'm gonna go ahead and put that cover back on. I'm gonna put a thin layer of grease over that, stick that down in, and then I'm using the butt end of this little flathead screwdriver to lock it down in place. You'll feel it slide down into place. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this other one off. This wheel spacer is stuck on here, so I'm hitting it with some WD-40, and eventually I do pull that sucker off. Once I do that, same process over here. Took the little cover off and cleaned it out with a Q-tip, and then started repacking it. All I'm doing here is using a little bit of anti-seize on that wheel spacer. Don't want these guys getting stuck again. So I'm going to throw a little bit of that on there, twist it around, and then we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and try to get this axle bolt to look brand new again, scraping off some corrosion and rust using a little mixture of contact cleaner and WD-40. WD-40 tends to help get some rust off, so throwing a little bit of both on there and using a Scotch-Brite, of course. You can make anything pretty much look brand new with a Scotch-Brite. Right now, just cleaning up the swing arm a bit, trying to get things ready to throw this wheel back on so we can ride the bike around. Greasing up the axle bolt before I slide it through, and we'll be ready to throw this wheel on. The chain ended up being a little bit loose here, but I did go back and fix that. What I'm doing now is fixing a small leak in the one of the front fork seals here. I'm using a seal mate. You can slide that little device up in there, turn it around, and it should pull some of the dirt out and hopefully fix the leak temporarily. We didn't feel like sending these in to get new seals, so that's what we did. Putting on some new plastics finally. We got the new rear fender and the new front fender. Screwing those in and then throwing back on the shrouds and also the side panels here, and then you'll see me throw on this front plate as well. Just doing some final minor things here. I replaced that screw on the ignition cover that was missing. Went ahead and popped a new vent hose in on the gas cap. And right now, actually just put in that spring on the front header. And then popping in a brand new spark plug. I'm going to torque that down to my best guess on 15 foot-pounds with my hand, and then we're going to throw some radiator fluid in there since we had drained all that out when we put the new hoses on. And we wanted to start the bike up here, but when I turned the petcock over, unfortunately we had a bunch of gas leaking out of the overflow from the carb, and that was a result of the throttle and /or float being stuck, which actually resolved itself the next day. So here's the bike running in the shed perfectly fine and pretty much good to go. And here's some clips of my dad riding the bike around. Alright guys, bikes are all locked in and put back. That's going to be it for this week's video. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys in the next vid.